What was the best karma-itch moment you have witnessed? I'm from San Diego, and during the summer, you have to acclaim bonfire pits on the beach really in the morning if you want it for that night. So my friends and I got to the beach at 8 a.m. and stayed there so we can get a bonfire going into the night. Just before sundown, this one couple asked if they could share the bonfire with us, and since our group wasn't too big, we decided to share it with them. However, the couple proceeded to bring a group of like 15 others, and they literally surrounded the pit and pushed us out. We were pissed, but we were so tired from being at the beach all day, so we decided to head out. Little did we know it, that night had an extreme high tide warning, and when we moved all of our stuff over the wall that divided the beach walk with the beach, a huge wave came in and washed out that whole group surrounded by our bonfire. The wave flipped over their table of food, took a handful of sandals back into the ocean, and destroyed all their stuff. The best part was this one girl was trying to jump the wall to save herself, but she didn't jump high enough and ended up falling right back into the waters. Karma's itch. I was running laps on a grass field in the military when I was about to lap a guy who'd always lapped it out of me. So as I passed him I yelled, "Gotcha, itch," and immediately stepped in a hole in the ground and twisted my ankle. Despite the pain of jacking my ankle up, I thought the karmic payout was hilariously timed. That's hilarious. You gave that guy a good story to tell too. Sitting on a highway late at night because of a bad car accident. The highway was packed and barely moving. One guy thinks he's smarter than everyone else and tries to drive on the shoulder. He makes it a good little ways before running into an on-ramp, also packed with cars. He had nowhere to go, and no one let him in. He was stuck between cars in the rightmost lane and cars from the on-ramp. Everyone stuck bumper to bumper and flowed around him. I went from watching him pass me and almost getting out of my view to passing him and losing sight of him in my rear view. He had nowhere to go, and no one let him in. I love highway justice. My husband and I call people like that the dong of the mile, because there's always one. I always hate the people who let them in too. They're weak. My father told me a story once from when he was younger. He was in traffic on a two-lane two-way road. It was backed up in one direction heading into an event of sorts, but there was sparse traffic going the other way. My father starts seeing this tool in his rear view who would pull out from the traffic into the oncoming lane, drive as far as he could before a car started to approach from the other direction, and then get someone to let him back in. After doing this a few times, he gets up to my father when he needs to get back in. My father doesn't budge and the guy has to throw it in reverse and back up all the way to the end of the line. Of all the fantastic things my father's done in his life and all the lessons he's taught me, if I've taken away one thing, it's that I will never let that guy in. When I was a kid, we visited Montreal. I had gotten a hockey puck as a souvenir. While we were in our hotel, my sister decided to mess with me by hiding it. I got mad and yelled in my high-pitched voice, "Give me back my hockey puck," before smacking her in the head with a pillow. Guess where she had hidden it? As a parent, I don't think I could even get mad for that. I got rear-ended in a turn lane by a girl texting. She was doing 45 miles per hour and I was stopped. No major injuries. I went to her court date hoping she got a big fine or something. She got a $50 ticket. I was a little bit upset. As I was sitting at the stoplight to pull out of the court, I watched her run a red light and bone a cop. I don't normally laugh at other people's misfortune. However, I laughed my ass off at that one. She had to pay for your repairs, I hope. When I was driving my Jeep very carefully in a snowstorm and someone in a Mustang passed me in an unsafe manner, he almost lost control of his car, which would have caused an accident that included me. Picture someone dangerously fishtailing right in front of you with an 18-wheeler coming at you in the other lane. Saw him in the ditch about 5 minutes later. Idiot. I was kicking a customer out for being racist and cursing at one of my employees. He yelled offensive stuff all and then he tried to slam the door on his way out, but it had one of those things on it that makes the door close slowly. He pushed it hard, it didn't budge and he slipped and fell on the floor. We had a good laugh. The correct name for that thing is a door slowly closer, door slower. The other day I was taking my dog for a walk around the neighborhood. She squatted down to take it and I reached for my doggy bags only to realize I was fresh out. So I peeked around making sure nobody was looking, and I just left it. 10 minutes later I'm walking across the road and I cut through a thin grass median in the center and what do you know, I step in dog it. I wasn't even mad. I knew I deserved it. When I was in first grade, my class had recess and this bully pushed me to the ground. I fell and was about to go off on the kid when this fourth grader came over, lifted the kid up and took the kid over to the principal. Karma is the it. So, Did the guy who helped you become a lifelong friend? Or did you never hear from him again? I was at a party one time, and this one girl couldn't stop talking about this other girl that was coming to the party. The other girl shows up and this dude picked her up and hugged her and spun her around in a way where her foot kicked the girl that was talking it right in the head face while she was sitting on the couch. Her beer spilled all over her and she caught a black eye. Contagious black eyes are the worst. Hey honey, I just found out I got a black eye. You may want to get yourself checked. Wait, was she cheating on me the whole time? Did she catch black eye off some dude and give it to me? Happened to me at work. Meth head was trying to pay with like 1,000 coins for a $5 scratch off. She tried to say she was only 10 cents short, ended up being over $1 short, then complained and said any decent person would have spotted her the money. Pretty much told her she could go down the street and try there if she'd like. She pulled out a 20 and bought 2. As she walked out the store she said karma is a bitch. When she gets to her car a cop pulls up behind blocking her in. They proceed to search the car then arrest her and her boyfriend. It was hilarious. Frick her. So let me get this straight. She tried to buy a scratch off using a bunch of coins, got mad when nobody gave her $1, and then pulled a 20? Frick that itch. The 20 was going to be used for drugs. I guarantee it. She didn't want to break it. This all the way. I once had a 20-something homeless kid approach me and ask if I had $1. I asked him if he had change for a $5, since I figured he'd been asking for money for a while. He tells me sorry, I've only got 20s. I laughed and walked away. Last Saturday I was on a crowded NYC subway at 2 a.m. 2 drunk dudes, young 20s, lighting a joint and walking around flaunting it. One literally came up to me, think a pothead ain't gonna smoke a joint? Whatever that means. The whole train kept ignoring them, and they kept parading around being a bunch of morons. They spotted 2 taller, athletic-looking dudes and started making fun of them for looking like cops. It was the line, which one of you is the sergeant? That finally put the athletic guys over the edge. They looked at each other, smiled, reached into their pocket and pulled out their badges. Okay boys, empty your pockets. The subway blew up in laughter. They would have gotten away with everything if they just didn't go bother the 2 plainclothes police officers. Score 1 for the good guys. And then I went home and smoked a joint in my living room. When I was a kid I threw a basketball into a puddle in front of a friend of mine, splashing him. I'm walking backwards, pointing and laughing. I then turn around right into a pole and knock myself out. I was working in a pub in Liverpool and had just arrived. About 10 a.m. To start my shift, I knocked on the door and waited for someone to let me in. I became aware of some voices shouting and turned around to see 2 guys, shirts off, swaggering towards me talking in a language I didn't understand. They came right up to me and what little English they did speak came out. They called me a freaking whore and a freaking itch, etc. Nasty stuff, and I was really quite scared. I was knocking on the door really hard at this point, but after insulting me and laughing they walked off towards a busy road. I watched as they walked out into the traffic waving their arms at the cars to stop for them, then giving the drivers the finger. Suddenly one of the cars stopped and 4 big guys got out. One of the nasty dudes ran off, but the big man got caught and shoved hard against the car a couple of times, clearly hurting his head and elbow. Then one of the car guys made out that he was going to punch him, big time, drawing his fist far back. The little it just covered his face and screamed. They didn't get hit, but the car guys and a lot of passers-by burst out laughing. They let him go and he ran away. That felt good. My dad kicked our dog because it was standing in front of the fridge and he wanted a beer. But as soon as he opened the fridge, the shelf that was holding the beer fell off and every single can busted open. A funny story here. My mom had a basset hound, and she was curled up on the couch with my mom's boyfriend John. He loves dogs and most animals, but also liked to play around. The dog hopped off the couch to go get a snack and he gave her a light tap on her rump with his foot. She paused to look back at him and continued on her trek. 5 minutes later she makes her way back to the couch and rejoins him. She instantly goes for his arm and gives him a bite. Not hard, but just enough to grab on. He wasn't even mad, just impressed that she kept his misdemeanor in her mind and came back to exact revenge. LOL. Woman on a cell phone runs me off the road, flips me off for laying on the horn. The road dead ends and I love the road. She was going right and I was a ways back going left. A van was in front of her at the red light and she just plows into the back of it. I slow down as I passed with the window down. Running me off the road wasn't enough to get your attention. Huh. She flips out. I laugh and drive off into the sunset. Neighbors on the balcony next door having a smashing time throwing bottles to the sidewalk. Can't get any sleep and I have to wake up at 7:30 a.m. Make the decision to get my rest and request officers to survey the scene. Watching from my window I see 3 fratties picking up glass under the flashlights of 2 deputies. With this issue resolved, I guess you could say I called the karma police. I read that as 3 fatties. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button and leave a comment which story you liked the most. Subscribe and hit the bell notification for updates on our latest videos. And don't forget to check the links in the description box for more awesome content.